This video is about protecting your child within the community. Now, admittedly, there are some communities where children cannot get outdoors. They cannot, or they dare not go outdoors. And in those kind of circumstances, it is difficult, but not impossible. The one thing to remember is that the safest, happiest, most contented, highest achieving families in the UK are very close-knit communities. They are what's called a monoculture. In other words, they have the same values as everyone else. They all share the same values, the same priorities when it comes to their children and their family. So that you know that everybody's trying to achieve the same level of happiness for their children that you want to achieve for yours. So one of the things, we can't replicate that as it is in the safest cities or the safest communities, but what we can do is we can replicate it in a different form. And that's to have parenting cooperatives. Parenting cooperatives, it's on parentingcooperatives.com and .uk. So that parents can communicate with other parents who have similar values to their own. And it's usually neighbours, friends and neighbours within your neighbourhood with children attending the same school. One of the things to remember about this, and it is so crucial to understand, please keep your network of friends, neighbours and family very, very closely guarded secret to everyone else. Only have people on there that you know well enough and that you trust. Usually it's people with children at the same school as your own. That enables parents to address any trivial issues within the school that are not classed as criminal. I'll give you a quick example of how this works. One of the girls in our group was being bullied by some other girls. So one of the parents got in touch with me as it was at the time, and I contacted other parents that were on my network. Each of them contacted parents that were on their network, and these were just the parents whose children were allegedly bullying this young girl. And between us, we each talked to our own child when they got back from school. That was it. Resolved straight away. No problem. And the next day they were all hugging and crying and everything in the playground. So there was never anything bad to come from that. In fact, it was quite a heartwarming experience for that girl to know that the people who were bullying it were tremendously sorry and they did regret it, and they actually had feelings and cared about her. So that was maybe in that way it was a positive experience for the young girl. But there were situations in that I won't explain on a video, but there are some horrendous cases where children were in horrific danger because of what they witnessed and because of what they knew about. There was also cases where young children were being bullied or they're being groomed, etc. Other children could witness it, but that child is too afraid to tell their own parents. Now, there's a situation that's happened hundreds and thousands of times where they're too afraid or they're being bullied and intimidated and threatened to the point where they dare not tell anyone what is actually going on and what is actually happening. Now, in those cases, what we've found is that some of these children who witness this happening will go home and tell their parents. And those parents will get in touch with the parent of the child who's actually being targeted. That way they could all get together and deal with the situation before it got out of hand or before anything really horrible actually happened. And the child, as far as everyone knows, the child did not, as they would say, they didn't grass anybody up. In fact, they don't know who actually grassed them up, because it could have been any one of a number of children whose parents are part of this cooperative. your individual cooperative should be personal and secret to you and the members of your group. I know it's secretive and it might seem a little bit sneaky, but yeah, that's the idea. To keep everything secret and to yourselves until or unless it reaches to a stage where the parents cannot deal with it and it's turning towards a crime happening. And it prevents crime, that's what it's doing. But occasionally, if it looks as if it's going that way, that's when you actually involve your local community police officer. In fact, it'd be a good idea to involve your local community police officer in your network. That way you can call them for advice. Is this a crime? Is it something the police would deal with? Or is it something that parents can deal with on their own? Making each other accountable for the children's behaviour and making each other responsible for their children and how they interact with other children at school.